right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as money. We appreciate you turning in today and listening to our podcast. Another great episode we have lined up here. Excited,
man.
We have a guest speaker, which is kind of been kind of the hot topics for us. A lot of clients have enjoyed the guest speaker section, and today should be no different. We have Mike Rankin with ClearPath Mortgage Solutions. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm pumped to be here.
Yeah,
really excited.
Now I've had the privilege of knowing Mike for quite a few years. Mike is a second generation person that's involved in the mortgage industry, and he has a company, ClearPath Mortgage Solutions. And we're excited to have him today because, I think when you look at different companies in his industry, I think he's the cream of the crop, which just to kind of give you an idea of his bio, he is the number one rated and reviewed mortgage corporation in the capital region area. A lot of his specialty centers around VA loans for veterans. We're going to get into that topic as well as other loans. He has a staff of 7 loan officers, so very decent size organization there. And even more impressively, he has access to over 70 lenders. So, we're going to get into what that means versus maybe going to just one lender and being left to what they're going to offer.
I got a great analogy. I want to start it off and
let's get it started.
Flip this script, baby.
It's your time.
It's your money. Mark, you kind of made reference to it, and Mike, I'll bring you in here. It's like, all right, let's go to the grocery store, all right? And when we get to the grocery store, let's just go to one aisle in the grocery store, but we have to shop there for our whole trip. Would anyone do that?
Absolutely not.
Right? Would anyone, unless you're me, go to the dessert aisle, right? You just hang out there the whole time.
I'm with you, brother.
Right?
Come on, man.
Maybe we'll just stay in that aisle. But then you get diabetes, and you're Walter Brimley's best friend, right? But the truth is that I really want our listeners to understand. If you go to a bank, Key Bank or Trustco or Sunmark, right, and you go in for a loan, they don't have as many opportunities or options as a ClearPath does, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so
I can give you an example. I had a client just last night buying a home, $590,000, and they were working with the local retail bank.
Okay,
and they were advised to put 20% down, and they were in this box. And they were about to lose out on the home of their dreams because they felt
they needed $100,000.
They needed that amount of money, and they were $10,000 short. And no one advised them that there's other options.
Right.
And so by the end of the night, it was 10 o'clock at night, coming down to the final wire. We were able to put a plan together for them to understand why we could actually buy this home, and we don't have to be stuck in the traditional lending box.
Because of the amount of relationships that you have, you can shop that out. So to your analogy there, right? It's like going in the supermarket and be able to go to all the aisles.
Oh, we get all of them, right? That's what you do. You're helping us get to the whole market.
That's exactly right. There's different products, different pricing, different underwriting. Not every bank has the same appetite. And so if you're at a bank and the bank doesn't have an appetite for your type of credit score, your type of income, then you're out of luck. But as a broker, we're going to make sure we find out who has the best fit, speed, technology, rate, closing costs, terms.
Well, let's go one further. I've seen a lot of commercials, and I'm kind of benign to this, so I don't really know. So you can fill me in, right? Rocket Mortgage, right? I can go on an app. I can do it on my phone, right? Why wouldn't I just do that? I don't need to call you, right? What do you add to the mix that's so important?
It's funny you choose Rocket because I was actually the #1 mortgage loan officer in the state of New York in 2019 for Rocket Mortgage.
Here we go.
And,
I had no idea. I swear to God, I had no idea.
As a broker, Rocket Mortgage is one of our lending partners. So we can shop out their rates and products. The biggest challenge here is the guidance. It's the three things people need when it comes to getting a mortgage that they don't get anywhere, especially not at an online Rocket Mortgage type technology, is strategy, guidance, and expertise. It's like me turning the coin back on you guys and saying, hey,
there we go.
I want to go online and get life insurance. I'm going to Xander.com.
Xander, yeah.
Right? And I'm going to pick it myself. What do you not get from
You don't
Xander?
get that personal experience, that intimate, close contact.
Well, I have a personal example with it. I've worked with Mike before in my own personal residence, and when we did a refinance on the home, a situation came up where the appraiser came out, and the appraiser didn't calculate certain parts of the home into the appraisal.
Wow.
So it wasn't as high as where we needed it to be. And but if I was just working directly with the lender, I probably wouldn't have been able to call somebody like I called you and I said, hey, the appraiser didn't include these items. And your response to me was like, well, he should have.
Right.
Let's get that taken care of. And it got taken care of because I had the personal relationship that was the hands-on experience that his team provided.
Having an advocate, I think, is just people don't know how they don't know they want it so bad. They want a guidance, they want an advocate, but they don't know how to ask for it.
We're in a generation of right now. I want to be immediately satisfied. I want this done now. I want it done yesterday. And the downside to getting it done quickly is that you may not get it done correctly.
That's right.
And just like in our industry, Mike, anyone can go online and open an account at a different brokerage firm, but not know what they're picking. Right, and do it online. They can do it by themselves. And I see a ton of commercials for cars the same way. I can go online. I don't have to go to a car dealership. I can just do everything online.
Car vending machine.
Right, a car vending machine, right?
Yeah.
Am I buying with the right models? Am I buying it with the right engine? Am I buying it with new or used tires, right? Like, I don't know.
You may be buying a truck and not knowing that the size of the engine matters, and all of a sudden you're going to tow something.
Yeah,
You bought a truck
I can't tow it. Oops, it's not the right size, right?
But you got a good price on it.
I saved $80, right?
And one of the good things about having you in this conversation is, we're coming off a series of podcasts or episodes of our show that have been out there, and we've centered them around real estate. So we've had a real estate attorney come in and talk about closings. We have a real estate agent come in and talk about working with a real estate agent. But this segment to kind of wrap up around that round robin, I think is more important on the financial side. Because of what you do and because of the creative ways that you can work with a mortgage and a pension, you can improve cash flow in a household. You can get a lower rate. You can switch from maybe a 15 to a 30 year.
Instead of putting 20% down, you put 10% down.
Exactly. And anytime you can improve a client's cash flow, it helps with retirement savings, college savings, purchasing a car.
That's actually what I did last night. Is that we turned that 20% down payment into 10%. We took the other extra 10%. We paid off all their high interest debt and increased their cash flow overall.
Well, that's when people don't realize that there's a formula. There's actually a formula that lenders look at when they give you a loan, right? And people don't realize that because most traditional banks just say, hey, put 20% down, you don't got to pay PMI.
That's right.
And then when that solves all the problems. Well, that's not.
Well, you're getting kind of technical there. Let's take a step back for a second.
Sure.
Let's just, for our listeners, let's just talk about the process.
Okay.
Right. So somebody's looking in the mortgage industry. Why would they be looking in the mortgage industry, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be they're building a home or they're even buying a new home, right? It could be a refi. It can be like we talked about, the consolidate credit card debt, get a lower rate.
I have a ton of debt. I need help.
Improve your cash flow, right? Maybe your mortgage is $1,800. You go and refi, and now it's $1,300. Well, that extra $500 a month is
That's big.
It's huge,
especially now.
Inflation,
right? Everyone's just about to say it.
So lenders contact you. What can they expect? I know you're a relationship person like we are. And you like tying in that relationship, and you talk to them about their goals and objectives. But what can they expect? What should they bring to you? What are maybe some questions they need to ask themselves?
Yeah, I think probably the very first thing that I want to know, my team wants to know, is what do you want as a client? So in our process, it's not about a transaction. It's not about a closing. It's about the client is the hero. Whether they're buying a home or refinancing, they're the hero. It's their story. They're the hero in their own story, which is called life. Their family's the hero. And so where I find most mortgage professionals don't go is they don't spend the time to learn about their goals. I want to know what do you want? How much money do you want to spend out of pocket? How much do you have? The client last night, I said, how much do you want to spend out of pocket? And they said $120,000. How much is that going to leave you after the closing? They said nothing.
And your roof has a leak.
Yeah, so
your roof has a leak.
The goal is in so we call it the discovery, learning about the clients, their payments, their what's the big picture, how long they're going to own the home for, and those questions. If I'm a home buyer, be thinking about what do I want, not just I want no PMI. And no mortgage insurance.
Well, I mean, I think we should take another step back in the sense that you're almost taking on a fiduciary role in the sense of you're getting enough information to give them more insight than a traditional lender, right?
We actually tell clients our fiduciary responsibilities to them to make sure. We call it the perfect mortgage, a mortgage with no regrets.
Right.
So the perfect mortgage for the home they love. Want them to love the home.
Sure.
But almost 60% of first-time home buyers, 50% of all buyers regret their home purchase, and the top two regrets are their monthly payment is too high and hidden costs and fees because they didn't begin with the end in mind.
Where's the size of the garage in that list? That's what I want to know.
Right, seriously.
The garage is never big enough.
No, seriously, you can have two garages. I have two garages this way. They're still not big enough. We still got more stuff flowing out of the front door.
So, so they come into you. Obviously, you're going to match them with the right solution, for that. And those solutions vary, right? So I know you have a passion for VA loans. I know, at least in our prior conversations, I was amazed at how few veterans actually take advantage of the VA process. You want to talk a little bit about that and why that's important for that demographic?
Absolutely. The VA benefit is one of the greatest benefits. A veteran can buy a home. And I'll stop right there with veteran, because a lot of times there's confusion. Sometimes the DMV doesn't consider you a veteran unless you've done 3 years of active duty. In some cases, the local tax authority doesn't give you discounts unless you've done a certain length of time. And in the world of mortgages, when it comes to the VA benefit, if you've served in the military in any capacity, we need to look into your VA home loan benefit, which allows you to buy a home. You could buy a $2 million home and put no down payment down, have no monthly mortgage insurance, have access to rates that are lower than all the other loan types. So you can improve cash flow. You can buy a home more in your means. You can buy a multifamily. And so the VA home loan benefit is an incredible benefit. I often joke around. I sometimes have talked about going into the military just so I can
just to get the benefit.
The VA benefit. and across the country, only 10% of veterans use their VA home loan benefit.
Wow.
In the state of New York, only 4.5% use their benefit. And when I meet most veterans, I find out, number one, they have misconceptions and myths about the VA loan. So I met a Marine Corps veteran. It was in his 60s at a birthday party for one of my kids, and he said, "I said, have you served in the military?" He said, "Yes, I was a Marine Corps veteran." I said, "You used your VA home loan benefit?" He goes, "No, I'm saving that for retirement." He was under the myth and the illusion that you can only use it once.
Oh my God!
When you can use it multiple times, and I'm finding a lot of veterans in their 50s and 60s realizing, wait a second, I bought 3 homes already. And I've thrown 50, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the trash with fees and higher interest.
Because they didn't know. Knowledge is power here.
So I'm on a mission to make sure every veteran receives the reward the courageous service has earned them.
Oh my God, absolutely. And I feel like even in the moment we are in our country, like we need to really support those guys and gals.
Absolutely.
And the fact that there's not even more support going toward them, whether it be with VA hospitals or with benefits from prior service, let's at least take advantage of what's there for you, because you deserve it.
Well, it's in any industry. It starts with education. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It starts with letting people know the details behind their benefit.
But what you hear happen is a veteran called me recently and was moving from Texas. Said, "Mike, I spoke to a realtor in the capital region before, as I decided to move from Texas to New York. I'm not sure why they do that. No, forgive me later." And he said, "Mike, the realtor told me you don't stand a chance using your VA home loan benefit." And that's what veterans are hearing. They're hearing you don't stand a chance. There's not a lot of real estate professionals. Mortgage lenders are telling veterans, don't get the VA loan. It's a difficult loan. It is not a difficult loan. It's an easy loan. It's a simple loan. Last weekend, it was a veteran who served at 9/11 in Ground Zero who was rejected on his VA loan for the last 2 lenders, and no one ever looked into it. On the phone, I said, "Do you have any VA disabilities from your service?" He said, "Of course I do, Mike. I've got PTSD." I said, "Are you receiving monthly benefit?" And he goes, "No one told me about it." And so not only in the process of getting a mortgage do I help veterans understand their VA home loan benefit, but I begin to open up kind of pull back the curtain. Hey, do you know about this and this? Because I want to improve their quality of life, because I'm just so thankful for what they've done to protect my family. This is a real passion.
The ultimate sacrifice given by a lot of them. So, I mean, I got to give you a shout out. That's a great thing you do. And, we try to uncover that for clients in more respects than just, the money side, because there's a lot of things that even Mark has taught me about unclaimed funds. Going and just looking and saying, hey, go to unclaimed funds and see if you have any dollars that are there or property that's there. That's phenomenal that you do that. So I can't tell you. My brother is a veteran, and he was in the Iraq War, and I'll tell you, there's not many people out there that care enough to say, hey, let me ask the next question. Let me peel back that veil and see what's really there.
People don't want to do the extra work, but to me, it's all about, Zig Ziglar said, you can get what you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want out of life.
Absolutely.
So I had to start teaching real estate agents, because the real estate agents were the primary reason veterans weren't winning in the market. Was real estate agents viewed the VA loan as a bad loan. So I created a course. I got it certified by the state of New York. And I began teaching realtors. The realtors get CE credit, continuing education credit,
to do your course.
Take the course, and now I have a captive audience to teach them how amazing the VA loan is and engage them in the mission.
So you identify the loan, and in this case a VA loan or FHA or whatever it might be. What are some things that perhaps you see that potential people should do before contacting you, or just to get their house in order, like the problem, to avoid some of the problems that arise during the loan process? I know your time frame is very short. A lot of people think it's like this lengthy process, like months and months and months to close on a loan. But your time's very short, right?
Yeah, the average in the industry is 45 to 50 days for closing a loan. Our company's averaging 29 days. So what I encourage people to do is a lot of people WebMDing their finances.
I want to look it up on the old internet.
Like, don't pull my credit.
Immediate satisfaction. Instant gratification.
Everything's true. I'm a friend
Don't pull my credit because I'm fixing my credit. Everyone's a credit expert, and most people I know who are like really carefully analyzing their credit, they actually don't know a lot about credit. So my first encouragement to people is make the phone call to us. It doesn't cost anything. We're going to we call it being pre-approved because it's preparation.
Right.
We're gonna go over your credit, go over your income, find out where we're at, and it's never a no. It's always what's the plan.
Yeah.
If that plan may be you're pre-approved and go look for a home in the next 30 days, that plan may be 6 months or 1 year out, but there's no better time to start preparing than now, and we're part of that preparation process.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that we've done in the past with working with mutual clients is on our end as a financial advisor. We've said, hey, you know what? Let's look into this refi, or let's look into this, this consolidation of your debts to free up the cash flow, because that allows them to save more for retirement. More for especially if their kids are transitioning into college, it frees up affordability and stuff. And it's good that you have those networking relationships as an advisor, because you can go, in our case, a door and a half down. I say door and a half because there's some construction in between there.
Right there.
But a door and a half down, and we can ring the little bell and say, hey, Mike, I got a question for you. If I have a client like this, what's out there on the market? And for us, it's very powerful to have a professional that we can refer on like that.
I think it's important because you've hit it on a couple times, and the truth is, you got to be okay asking questions.
Yeah.
And it's got to be an interpersonal thing. And I think it's bigger. The lens is getting bigger here. The world we live in now, I can get an answer really quick, and I think it's always right because it's on the internet or it's on my phone. Rather than just asking the question, just ask the question to someone that's done it for a long time. Sometimes I think there's a loss of value on experience, right? And it's so important people know that to ask somebody with experience, whether it be in the financial industry or the real estate industry, just ask the right question, and I think you'll get the right answer.
I think what happens in the mortgage world is there's a lot of shaming.
Right.
And so people don't ask questions because they've just been treated with this.
It's true for our world as well. Like, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to ask.
For me, it's always, a client has a question, it's always, my response always is, that's a great question. Thanks for asking.
Right.
The bad questions when you didn't ask.
Yeah.
And so always encouraging, ask questions. I want them to walk away. My dad says success is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. I want people to know, here's how this works. And most people, they got their Rocket Mortgage pre-approval.
Oh my God, I got it. I'm good.
7 minutes, like the gas station pump.
It's so easy.
Commercial that came on the little TVs. That's pretty wild. They have TVs at gas station pumps now. But
They do.
7 minutes. Here's my pre-approval letter. It's not worth the paper it was written on. And so they go out in the market and they wonder why they struggle and fail and overpay.
I never understood that because they always wanted to keep the electronics away from the gas.
Right.
This was like a side note.
Are you not supposed to smoke at the gas station?
Now they put it right there. And anyway, just a side note.
But I think you're right in the sense that you create a dynamic of insecurity, and I feel like that perpetuates in any industry, because if I don't ask, then I don't need to worry about it. I can just find the answer somewhere else, rather than maybe I ask the harder question and I get a harder answer, and then I have to reevaluate this. I have to reestablish my understanding of what's real, what I can really do. But I think it's important that people understand there's resources there, and like you said, it doesn't cost anything to make a phone call.
That's right.
It doesn't cost anything to call me and Mark. We'll talk to you about it. We'll help you, right? You don't have to be worried that there's going to be judgment passed, because there's not. We're just going to try to be informative.
And I find a lot of people in our world, and this is what makes us different, is most people are trying to sell something.
Of course.
I tell my clients all the time, look, I want you to land at the right lender. And if the lenders I work with don't have the right fit, I'm going to connect you with who is. I referred someone to Trustco the other day, yesterday to Sunmark, because they had a product.
Just a better product.
The right fit. But most people are going out there. The real estate market's wild. It is competitive. There's a lot of overpaying, unnecessary overpaying.
We were just talking about
high pressure.
We were just talking about a pre-podcast and how things are going on sale right now, and literally sellers are setting this price for whatever they want.
Yep.
And I'm just going to urge buyers out there to be really smart and be really careful about what you're buying, because if we continue this process, eventually there's going to be some depreciation that we have to deal with.
Yep, agreed.
And at some point, people are going to look back and go, oh man, I overpaid for that $400,000 house. I paid $600,000 for it. Now it's only worth $4.
But at the same time, using the equity in your home that may have built up over the last 10, 15, 20
Sure.
years to solve financial problems or issues that you might be having in
huge.
your house, there's never been a better time. Well, arguably you could say a year ago, right?
About a
you know,
year ago.
And that's something maybe to speak on a little bit is, where you see rates are going over the next year or two, and the urgency to get that type of consolidation and
Completed.
refinancing done now.
Yeah.
Versus, because I know we've talked with clients that are 2 years out of retirement or 3 years out of retirement, and we've gone to them and said, hey, you know what, if you're looking at a move to another state or a retirement home, you may want to look at that now, a year or two before you retire, because you can get into that location, that loan, that rate at such a low rate that you can afford, versus 5 years from now when now you can't
And you're buried.
fulfill that retirement picture because the rates are maybe 7 or 8 or 9% at that point.
I think it's so important to look at our finances holistically, and that's the mortgage, along with all the other assets people have and their liabilities. Most people tend to like zero in the mortgage in this little piece over here, but it all goes together. The mortgage drives so much of your financial, your ability to save.
Because, and just to illustrate, just verbally to a client that might be listening, if you're borrowing $100,000 and your rate goes up, say 1%, right? Because fixed were like 3 range, and so for a while, now they're closer to, I would imagine, 5
or
right?
6.
What's that look like in a difference in a monthly payment?
So I'll put it this way in terms of price point. In January, the average rate at the beginning of January was 3.29% on a 30-year fixed. By May, rates hit 5.25%. People lost $125,000 of affordability. So for the same exact monthly payment. So essentially, the raise in rates of that 2% affected monthly payments several $100s.
Wow. Yeah, and to our point, sellers aren't lowering them.
No,
they're not.
Sellers
not
are
lowering.
juicing them up right now. I mean, I saw a house sell for almost $150,000 over asking last week.
Yeah, so if you want to make up that difference of $125,000, say, right, your monthly payment's got to move up a lot.
That's correct. You're looking at $300, $400, $500. So what we're seeing happen in the market right now is since January, there's 43% more inventory. The biggest challenge we're facing is an inventory issue in the mortgage world. We have the largest demographic patch in history of home buyers flooding the market to buy. We've got our traditional move down buyers deciding to age in place, and they're not selling, they're hunkering down. COVID kind of caused that to happen even more because people didn't know
where can I go? Where can I move? Right?
Let's stay put. And now you've got a lot of people who refinance to 2.5, 2.99.
And they don't want to let it go.
And they're like, I don't want to let it go, especially with inflation going. So we have a true supply and demand issue. We're back in 2008, 2007.
It was a derivative issue. It was all about
underwriting guidelines. There was corruption.
What's the name of the show? There was a great show they put out on the 2008 crisis.
The Big Short?
No. That was on the stock market. There's another show they put out. And I'm trying to remember it. Oh man, he's gonna eat me up. It's all about derivatives and how the mortgage swaps.
Well, it'll come back to you in time.
Josh Brolin was in the movie. They did a movie on it. Oh, all
right, we're gonna give you some time to think.
We're gonna think about it. Oh man, I'm sorry.
What time it is?
Oh, here we go.
Does that work?
It does work.
What time is it?
It's 5 o'clock.
No, I'm sorry. It's actually community spotlight time. That's what time it is here. So community spotlight. We love community spotlight time. Community spotlight time's a time in our show where we can highlight a local business that we enjoy working with and does right by the community. Matt, you've got a great one for today. I know we've been involved with them for a while.
Yeah, so Cage Wars MMA is a phenomenal business, and they've been running their business for a while now. They just became a little bit bigger. They got onto the main stage about 2 years ago, and actually they're going to be hosting an event next month. Mike Tyson will be at it. They are basically a feeder system, per se, to more professional type MMA venues. I know Bellator and UFC are extremely lucrative and extremely, phenomenal at what they do, but there's always been a pretty wide gap between the professional ranks and the non-professional ranks, amateur ranks in MMA. Now in boxing, there's Olympics and all these other different venues moving up, but MMA has always had a bad name, and for good reason. Initially, they had no rules, so being a wrestler by trade, knowing that there's a very brutal business behind athletics, I'm happy to say that Cage Wars has done a great job in getting these guys and gals opportunities to perform on a great stage in a safe environment with phenomenal referees Dan Mergliata, okay? And they have they do a great job with community service. They integrate with youth boxing and youth wrestling. So I'm very happy to say that we've partnered with them and we've sponsored some of their fights. And I'm very happy that we can be part of their process, because I think eventually they're going to end up being a pretty straight line to Bellator and to UFC.
They can find them online if you want to find out
So
about their fights.
You could find Cage Wars at cagewarsmma.com. If you're a young and upcoming fighter, there's a form right on the website where you can sign up and be part of it. But they just do a lot of great stuff. I'm very happy that we're part of their process, and I'm excited to see the venue next month with Tyson. I'm really pumped up.
Yeah, that'll be great. So, in getting back to the time that we're here, now
Yes.
that we know the real time that it is here, let's just expand that conversation a little bit on your process, because I think that's also important. So, what are the steps that make up that 28 to 30 days from the time somebody walks in your door to the time that they're closed on that new mortgage or whatever? What are things that they need to be aware of, people that are going to come to their house, or things that they're going to need to bring you?
Yeah, so we found a lot of companies like Rocket are trying to do everything technology-wise. A lot of studies have come out to show that the average consumer, home buyer, prefers a 60% people experience. However, we can't negate the fact that technology helps us to make things easier, simpler, and in many ways protect information.
Right.
So we start off having our clients fill out a secure application. We send them a link. Takes them 10 minutes. It's password. It's encrypted. It's all cyber secure. They fill out their application. That's where they put in their income, their assets, their job history. They answer some questions. From there, our system will automatically ask them to upload documents. This is us leveraging technology so that they can do this at midnight if they want to, not have to have everything be slowed down by a meeting. So they can. We've had clients hit our website, and within 24 minutes, they have filled out the application and uploaded all of their documentation, pay stubs, bank statements, W-2s, whatever the required items are for their particular income, employment status. From there, one of our loan officers is going to reach out, introduce themselves, and begin to have that discovery conversation. What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? From there, we're going to set up a Zoom meeting, 30 to 45 minutes. And the general rule of thumb is we'll go at your pace. However fast the client wants to go, if they want to do all this in one day, it can happen all in one day.
And for the more senior client, they're welcome to come in.
They can welcome to come into our office, bring things in person. If they don't feel tech savvy, they can come right in. We really want to meet people where they're at
Generationally, you're making a good choice. Okay.
Absolutely. And then a lot of clients with COVID, they appreciated the Zoom pre-approval meeting.
Yeah.
Because most, like 99% of mortgage companies do not get on video or in person.
Right.
And so trying to consume numbers, I find that there's a visual component, an audio and a visual component to understanding numbers. So we like to be able to share the screen, let them see monthly payment, all the numbers right in front of them.
Yeah.
Transparency is incredibly important to us. Them knowing I want them to know how the sausage is made. From that, it's a 30 to 45 minute meeting. From that meeting, that client is not only pre-approved, hey, here's your letter, good luck, but they also have a strategy, a written strategy for how to go back into the market with their real estate professional and know exactly what price range and what financial strategy is going to help them win the market. That's the first half of buying a home. Second half, which is similar to a refinance, is where they found a home. They're under contract. Okay, Michael, ready to close. That's where the 29-day mark starts happening. And we start off again, in person or a Zoom meeting. We already know their goals. We already vetted everything. That's where we can move fast.
Right.
Is we did all the legwork up front, where most banks don't do any legwork up front. Because there's no money to be made when you pre-approve people. So most companies put money first and people second. For us, it's people first, money second. Lead by taking care of people. Money follows when you treat people right. And we have that meeting.
Do right by people. It's always the way, man.
100%.
Always the way.
So that meeting is where we actually let our clients pick their interest rate. We pull up all the lenders we work with. We narrow it down to the couple lenders we feel are the best fit for them in terms of speed, rate, technology, guidelines. And then we let the client pick their rate. That's what we call it a perfect mortgage. I want them to be able to pick. I've got rates right now. Rates may be at 5.25. There's a reason to go to 5.5. You might get a credit back and lower your closing costs. There's a reason to go to 4.5 and maybe pay a little extra fee on closing day to get that lower rate. And so we let our clients choose that. And from there, it's
and the
pretty
duration they can pick, they can choose.
Right.
how long of a term it's going to be. We're doing 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, and we nail all that. There'll be a general sense at that point of what they've already decided on in the pre-approval meeting, but this is where we hone in on it. We lock in their rate. And from there, it's usually just a couple of updated documents.
Now you said something which I think is key for clients to understand in affordability on a mortgage is, the amount down or comparing what the home is appraised for, right, versus what they're borrowing, because there's something called PMI.
That's right, yeah.
Right, and I think listeners should understand what that is, because it can save them a lot on a mortgage, and it might be a decision of how much they put down to whether they have that extra payment or not.
That's right. So PMI is known as private mortgage insurance. PMI is considered the devil in the mortgage business, but in the past, rightly so. Because back in 2007, 2008, 2009, when the market began to crash, what happened was there was lots of foreclosures and lots of PMI claims. So the cost of mortgage insurance, it's a monthly fee inside of your monthly payment, it began to go through the roof. So that's where people found this real disgust and disdain for PMI. Well, now here we are 12, 13 years later, we have the lowest foreclosure rating in history. It's like everyone that was dying of smoking, no one dies of smoking anymore. So life insurance.
We smartened up.
So life insurance is like, hey, we're going to lower our rates for smokers because no one's dying. In the same way, we're going to reduce our PMI rates because no one's going to foreclosure because underwriting guidelines got better. So you can have a $500,000 mortgage and put 5% down and have PMI of $90 a month.
Right.
So at that point, it really comes down to helping the client. That's why I love working with you guys, is because I'm going to have the conversation with you. Hey, Mark. Hey, Matt. The client can put 5% down, and they could save $80,000 or $50,000 on closing day. Do you have something better they can do with that money? Can we pay off debt? Should we put it in an investment account? Should we do repairs in the home?
We've always done that. We try to work hat in hand, and if we literally put a round table together of all the professionals we work with, I think there'd be 15 people at it. Like you talk about the perfect mortgage, we talk about the perfect financial plan in the sense of not that it's going to be perfect, but it's going to have a lot of elements of professionals from different industries that all do different jobs.
That's right.
Seamlessly.
And we all stay in our lane. And I find the financial advisor tends to be the conductor of the orchestra, because you're seeing all the pieces. You're seeing the children coming down the pipe, the grandchildren, you're seeing the parents. You got a handle on many things, the longevity. But the PMI conversation happens every time because it's part of structuring the loan.
Sure.
Where Dave Ramsey's square peg, square hole, it's like, if you're the square peg, great, but how do you know you're the square peg?
I actually picked on Dave Ramsey a couple times. I always challenge him a little bit because people do have that. Not that I don't think his method works, but you got to be a square peg.
I tell people I'm a 60% Dave Ramsey fan. He's got a lot of good stuff.
He's got a lot of good stuff, but then 40% of it doesn't fit some people.
You need a custom approach, and not only do you need a custom financial plan, you need a custom mortgage plan, or else people who got a 15-year mortgage, as inflation goes up, they're going to wish they had a 30-year.
Oh yeah. Well, when you're tapped in, okay, so let's
or buying adjustable now.
I know we're running out of time, but buying adjustable now. But what if you're a teacher and you're on a fixed income and you don't have time to go run around working a second job because you got kids? It becomes very difficult, and those dollars get really tight, really quick.
So I think flexibility in the mortgage is so critical.
Well, I think you hit it perfect, right? You said a great quote from your dad that I think I've said it before, but
the success is what happens when preparedness meets opportunity.
Preparation and opportunity give you success, right?
That's right.
And it's not really luck. Luck is just a combination of preparation and opportunity and being prepared for a situation. But flexibility is critical in developing the right plan.
I agree.
Interpersonal experience adds to flexibility because you're going to make sound decisions with a good person,
Yeah.
So.
What would you say that you find, at least in conversation with clients, is the most often excuse of why somebody is refinancing or why somebody's looking at a better rate or things along that lines?
So I think that the number one reason to refinance is to take advantage of a drop in interest rate and increase your monthly savings. I think that's the number one reason. You've got some ancillary reasons. People are refinancing to consolidate. Most people, I find, that are doing we call it a cash out refinance. They're pulling equity out to pay off debt. They're usually there's some kind of leadership behind the scenes of a financial advisor helping them understand that. Most people aren't necessarily coming to that conclusion on their own. Maybe an advertisement led them to that. And the third reason people are often refinancing is to remove someone from the loan.
Yeah.
Maybe they got divorced or separated and they need to refinance because they have to.
Buy somebody out or move on.
Yeah, those are the most common reasons, I think.
And I think it's important to work with a firm like yourself that networks as well, because in certain lending opportunities, you need a specific person, a specific appraisal group, or you need somebody that knows the title industry or knows the different industries and has relationships in those, just like we do with the professional network. It helps that process go so much smoother. When you have a professional that can call up somebody that they've worked with for years and say, hey, I got this loan over here, and I need this favor, which helps. And from a client standpoint, it creates an atmosphere where there's less fog, so to speak. It's clear. They know, hey, this is the time frame. This is when we're going to close.
You don't have to Monday morning quarterback your decision. You don't have to second guess yourself because you're getting quality experience. So.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for coming in today.
We appreciate
it. We usually close down our show a little bit here with something we call Minute by Minute, where we just ask some personal questions and stuff. And a little bit I know because I've seen some text threads from him and stuff like that. But I understand that you love fishing.
I do enjoy fishing.
All right, well, tell me about that. Like your passion with that. Like any places you go.
I grew up bass fishing with my dad. And it just became a super enjoyable sport. I find it incredibly relaxing to be out on a lake, maybe even just some of the repetitive. I've got 4 kids at home, so it's chaos. So
you're
fishing,
just
I find
quiet,
a lot of peace. And when you bass fishing specifically is very exciting. When you hook a fish on it, there's a good fight. It's very it's a high.
Invigorating.
That's right. It's like an extreme sport in some ways. And so I got into crabbing. I've got into ice fishing.
Really?
I think this is the first year you went ice fishing. I think
this last year, ice fishing was the first time.
I'll watch you from the dock.
And it's a great way to pass the winter. It's been incredible. I got my boys into it with me too, and the next step's figuring out how to do.
You and Mark are both crazy guys.
I remember going to New Jersey as a kid, and you go on the dock, and you get a string, a weight, and a chicken wing.
That's right.
You lower it off the dock, and then you slowly pull it up. And before they come out of the water, you have your net there, and you can get so many crabs. And
give you ice fishing, give Mark the X Games, and give me a margarita and a chair, and I'll watch you guys be. It's be great.
So, well, thank you so much. Why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you, address, contact information?
Yeah, if you want to get a hold of our team, go right online. Go to ClearPathMortgages.com. Or just go to Google, type in ClearPath Mortgages. You'll find we pop right to the top of the list. And if you hit our website, all of our information is right there. Phone number, email address, contact information. And we're excited to be a guide and serve whomever is looking to buy a home or refinance.
Great. Best phone number?
518-389-7070.
Great. And as always, you can find the Esley Group at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, New York, 12110. Actually, same address as
different office.
800-222-3202. And as always, at yourtimeyourmoney.net, and that's .net for your net worth. So thank you so much for coming in today, and we appreciate it.